Okay, welcome my math friends to problem number 20. I think we're in section 3.2. We're doing quadratic equations, and in this problem they want us to practice the quadratic formula. So you probably have heard of this before, you probably used it, maybe you forgot it, just a quick review. You should write this down in your notes perhaps. The quadratic formula is you can solve for x directly by just doing negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. All right, it's like a lot. You just memorize that one. You just memorize. Actually, I think on a test we would probably give you that formula. But where did this come from? Just quick. It just came from this original. If you have a quadratic equation in a general form and ax squared and bx plus c equals 0, and you just rearranged everything and you got the x by itself, that's what you'd come up with. So don't think it just kind of like came out of the sky. It's just rearranging, solving this equation for x. So what that can do is it can help you if you have an equation that you can't factor and for whatever reason you don't want to complete the square. You can just solve for x directly. So this question they say find the zeros. In other words, set this equal to 0. Find out what x equals when this is 0. That's going to tell you, if you think about it in your mind, that's going to make a parabola, and it's going to tell you where the parabola crosses the x-axis. If it does, it may not. If it doesn't, then your answer will be like you have negative square roots. You have a problem. So we're going to find the zeros, then we're going to use those. We're going to find the axis of symmetry, and then we're going to find the minimum and maximum value. So let's do that. So I'm going to just plug in my little formula. X equals negative b. So b is already negative 4. So a negative is a positive 4 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 16 minus 4ac. 4ac. It's a minus negative, so it's a plus. Plus 4. I think I did that right. All divided by 2a. Divided by 2. So to simplify that down, I have 4 plus or minus the square root of 20 all over 2. To further simplify that square root of 20, you can think about it that as, I'll just write it on the side here, 5 times 4. And the square root of 4, of course, is 2. So I'm going to have 4, 4 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 5 divided by 2. And normally, remember, when you're trying to reduce a fraction, if you have a plus or minus, you really can't start to split that up. But since the 2 can go into both sides evenly, you could divide the 2 into both. So I'm going to do that. 2 goes into 4 twice. Plus or minus 2 goes into 2 once. Square root of 5. So there's my x's. There's 2 of them. X is going to be, I'll write it over here. X is going to be 2 plus the square root of 5. And the second x, x1 and x2, is 2 minus the square root of 5. So I found my 2 x's. And now we need to just back up for a minute and think a little bit about what we're doing and what we're finding. So these are the values where that parabola crossed the x-axis. It did cross it. So let's draw it. It's very helpful to draw, get a picture so you can start to see. So 2 plus the square root of 5. Let's say this is 1, 2. What is the square root of 5? Square root of 5 is a little bit more than 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit more. So that's 2 plus 2 and a little bit more. So that's one of the x values. And the other one's going to be 2 minus the square root of 5. That's going to bring you a little bit past that point here, whatever that is. And my parabola is positive, so it's going to open up. So how can I find the axis of symmetry? Well, if you think about it, the axis of symmetry is your middle point, that line. So you could find the midpoint between these two. And if you remember your formula for midpoint, it's 2 plus the square root of 5 plus 2 minus the square root of 5 divided by 2. And luckily, square root of 5's cross off. I have 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The middle point is right down the middle That's going to be my axis of symmetry. It's also going to be the value of my vertex, right? Because the vertex lives on the axis of symmetry. So I know that the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Sorry, I'm all over the place with this board. And then to find the last thing, the minimum or maximum, since it's an upward opening parabola, I'm going to find the minimum point, which is that y value. So I just have to stick 2 in to the original equation and figure out what y is when x is 2. So if I put it back in over here, 2 times 2 is 4, minus 8, minus 1, that's negative 9, and positive 4, that's negative 5. So that's going to be my vertex down here, which will be my minimum point. So that's number 20. So pause that, see that, and then try it yourself. Try it without watching the video, and hopefully you'll come along the same place. Good luck with that, and namaste.